And we now move ahead to the second speaker on brand chat for today, Mr. Sankar Das. Most of us know him. He's joined from Europe and built brands like Teddy Bar and all, which we all remember. So this is one new age brand which we have started remembering. Our children are remembering, mothers are remembering. Sankar Das sir is a strong proponent of good marketing practices. He is the former CEO of Curatio and was instrumental in building brand Curatio and brand Teddy Bar. He too is a student of Professor Chittamitra, in whose honor we hold World Pharma Brand Managers Week. He played a stellar role in strategic marketing at Dr. Reddy's. In short, this is the introduction that I would give, because we all know Sankar sir, how he built the company, how he built the brands. Sankar sir, in the segment of gastro PPIs, we need some insights and also on the wholesome insights on how a brand should be built.
Pleasure for me to join this very, very important event. And I was very delighted to listen to Mr. Motwani. And he was my first marketing manager. And no, today also he was consistent in his one message that fall in love with the product. So when I was in my first day in Cipla, I was a medical rep just after graduation. And there were about 40 of us. I was in the 7th or 8th row in Maratha Mandir YMCA International House when he mentioned, looking at all of us, that I see 42 sales managers and 42 marketing managers. To tell you frankly, I didn't realize the meaning at that time. But no, I realized later that when you fall in love with your job or with your brand, certainly one can grow very well in this industry. So that's what I would like to add as a comment, and I felt happy to listen to Mr. Motwani.
Thank you.
Now let me come to this top of the mind Geeta brands. So for when I was working in Dr. Reddy's laboratory, this is nothing but Geeta for us. So that's why we are calling it as Geeta. And this name Geeta was actually given by one of a very passionate marketing colleague I had, who enabled Razo growing to leadership, Lakshmi Narasimhan. So I hope she is also part of this discussion. And while I was the brand manager for Omaze, I grew with Omaze, and later I was responsible for, through my business team, launching Razo 2, where Lakshmi Narasimhan was reporting to me. So like Motwani mentioned, it is not one person's credit, but a significant number of brand managers, as well as the sales team, which got totally aligned, which I am going to talk about in a few minutes. So everyone had played a very important role in driving Omaze and Razo from the same company to the leadership roles. So is it just the 4 Ps, or nowadays many people say it is 5 Ps, including people, or it is much more than that? Let me try to answer this question here. So first, my tribute to Professor Chittamitra. Professor Chittamitra, as well as his organization, has significantly influenced the industry as well as me as an individual. So I feel very happy to join this event that is run on his memory, as well as Professor Tarun Gupta, whom I have met several times during my career. So it is Professor Mitra and his family which has given to the industry a simple fundamental principle through a triangle. Okay, and whether this triangle is relevant today, I feel absolutely so. So they have, you can give this triangle as an example to articulate to your top management as well as up to the representative on how to manage a brand, how to manage a PLC, product life cycle, or how to manage the different customer segment, or how to manage different indications for the brand. Very many of these aspects can be explained beautifully well, the way Professor Mitra or Chinmay or Sanjay Mitra used to present this. So my first credit to them, and I am going to touch about this triangle a little bit later. Can culture play a key role in brand building? I feel absolutely yes. A very enabling culture. Mr. Motwani also mentioned about it. a very enabling culture that provided the skills and resources for a person like me or for my team. And I would certainly be grateful to Dr. Reddy's, which provides or provided at that time the brand building culture. Can convergence of marketing and sales create two top of the mind brands in same therapy, same subcategory, from the same company? The answer is absolutely yes. Okay, if we are in a position to, and this is the second time after the first speaker, Mr. Motwani, I'm saying, if we are in a position to market this brand very, very strongly with our sales team, not just to the sales managers at the senior level, but up to the representative, which can be done very efficiently by the brand manager. I think we will get their alignment into what we want to achieve. And we must remember a person who understands why behind the reason of why he has to do certain things. The why part, if it is explained very well, I think you will certainly buy the alignment. I firmly believe incentive is a motivator for the sales team, but the incentive alone doesn't make it happen. It is how the brand manager had narrated the story behind the brand with so many examples, with some interesting data. The data need to be presented in an interesting way. The way the brand manager has taken it to the field, I think he will buy the passion of the sales team, and that's what has gone behind these both brands. I have shown two pictures. Okay, the picture where all of us are sitting in, including Mr. Satish Reddy, you can see here, all of us in dressed attire. This is the Ome's time. Okay, it is this picture should be almost about 25, 30 years old. And this team, which is in active participation in an outbound program, this team was the team which had built the Razo. So there are many people. The sales team was in total alignment with what that brand should do, okay, to the patients or to the prescribing segment. That alignment is what has helped. And for bringing that alignment, not only me as a brand manager, but there are multiple brand managers who have reported to me, as in Omi's time as well as in Razo time, like the way I talked about Lakshmi Narasimhan or her colleagues. We all together, we worked to ensure that the sales team doesn't have any doubt. In fact, they went into the market with the absolute clarity when they meet the customer. I'll give you an interesting question that what happens if the doctor says, Chinmay Mitra also said, the doctor says, I will prescribe only one brand, two brand per company, which data says that it is not the case. But what happens if the doctor passes a comment like that, tell me only one thing, I will write either Omes or Razo, which one to prescribe? Very, very important question. But both teams, these two brands were in two different teams, but both teams handled this question very efficiently because the brand management team gave that clarity. Okay, in a simple word, I can put, the guy has to first make that context light. He has to smile at the doctor or do a little laughing because there is already a existing relationship. And he should also say, doctor, prescribe only one brand. Okay, prescribe Omes when it comes to acidity and heartburn. Prescribe Razo when it comes to GERD. That's what he has to prescribe. Only one brand, sir, not more than that. Prescribe Omes in acidity, prescribe Razo in GERD. That is how the teams got trained in Dr. Reddy. So my total thanks to the entire sales team, which got passionately involved in building these two brands. Now, some of the youngsters can think that it was possible in 90s and 2000s in that period, but not anymore, which also I think is not the right way to look at it, because the advantage of today, okay, there are very many advantages which are not available in the past. Okay, so I see that this is only an alibi of the current era. Some of the marketing professionals saying all this was possible in the past, but not anymore. Regulations have changed. Yes, no, it is not possible today to create a welcome to Omes City type of campaign that was very successful in building homies in 97. Today, it is not possible. But today, there are very many other avenues. We are going to discuss in the physical event artificial intelligence. So the tools have been always been improving. To give you a perspective, when Omis was getting launched at a head office level, Dr. Reddy's did not even have a systematized customer list. I am talking about the year when Dr. Reddy's was just 6 years old, 5 years old. Okay, there was not even, it is all with lying in pockets with the concerned territory representatives or area managers, not even a systematized list. Sitting at head office, we will not know whether the representative is going and meeting on the specified day in a specified frequency, the gastroenterologist or a GP. We will not come to know. We have to go by, and it used to be a very common complaint. Every time the brand manager will ask for a doctor list. So all these things that today got eliminated because every organization, I think most of the organization has automated the SFE process, which has come in the last 15 years time. I think it has significantly improved the brand manager's life. So we cannot say what was possible 20 years ago is no longer possible. The tools are improving. We need to update ourselves so that the current tools will create much bigger and greater opportunity. That's the point I am making. Okay, so what were the common factors between Omis and Razo? Okay, very easy to say. First, the company. Both brands come from Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. The patient profile, the indications, the category or subcategory of this the PPA, whether it is omeprazole or pantoprazole. PPA is a PPA is a PPA. This used to be a common presentation slide 20 years ago by gastroenterologists when they are invited to speak in a forum. So these are all the common factors. Pharmacodynamics of most of the PPAs are almost the same. In pharmacokinetics, there will be a little bit of difference, but you cannot very significantly make it out. It is a significant PPA different from earlier PPAs. So the prescriber segments were same, and both these brands, Omis and Razo, reached leadership market share after intense struggle of first 4 years. There was an interesting question earlier that whether first to launch is a major advantage to become the leader. And I said that comment, I had saying that wait to listen to Razo's story. It is very important to know that Razo was not first to launch. Neither no Razo D or it's the Omis D. These are all the brands which are first to launch. But the first 4 years, they struggled and gained their leadership market share. In the case of Omis, it was first to get launched, but Dr. Reddy's at the time was a very young, 5-6-year-old organization. And there were legends like a bigger organization like Kedila and all. So in the first 3-4 years, Omis was not in the first leadership role. You have to struggle to reach your leadership position. And what is that struggle? We will see a little bit later. Okay, so these are the common factors, what I said, the same category, subcategory, same company, almost same therapy, same doctor profile. Okay, that's about. But what are the differing factors? So the differing factors, first we should understand both got launched in a gap of about 10 or 11 years. Omis was a launch of 91, while Razo was a launch of 2002. So there was almost a decade of gap. Omis was the first to launch brand in the category of PPIs. It was the first, in fact, Dr. Reddy's was the bulk drug producer of omeprazole, first to get launched by a young company, whereas Razo was late to enter into the market. It was the 7th brand to get launched. In the case of Razo, at that time, Dr. Reddy's was not making rabiprazole, so it was the outsourced product. I don't know about now, but at that time, I'm talking about. The competition context was also totally different for these two brands. At the time of omeprazole launch, the competition was more to do with ranitidine and famotidine, whereas in the case of Razo's launch, the competitive context was more fight within the PPAs. So omeprazole, lansoprazole, pantoprazole, esomeprazole, like that. the competitive landscape was different. In that way, something good happened to Razo because of competition. I think I can touch that little later. At the period of Omi's launch, I said Dr. Reddy's did not even have a doctor list at the head office level to be part of the system, to understand where to go, how to go, and all. Whereas at the time of Razo launch, the company has evolved significantly, and the brand manager had that advantage of knowing how many gastroenterologists are there in each state, whom to go first. All those experience as well as expertise have come into Dr. Reddy's. Conducting CME, let me come to an important point of difference between Omes and Razo. During Omes time, it is easy for the marketing and the sales team to gather doctors to run a CME program. There was very many Omes molecule introduction program to the doctor community in 90s. Whereas because it was easy to gather doctors. Whereas by the time 2000 is born, internet has come into the market. The doctor's dependence on coming to a CME program run by a pharma company to understand a molecule, that became very, very futile exercise. In fact, even in Dr. Reddy's, we might have done once or twice, but we realized that is no longer is going to be the tool for taking a molecule or a brand to the customers. That's the major differing factor. Okay. And I also talked about the omeprazole H. pylori kit that was in the late 90s or mid 90s. H. pylori kit was another major thing that had happened in the market, and that also created a confusion. And I don't think today H. pylori kits are, thanks to Dr. Desai from Bombay, who demonstrated that every normal individual has H. pylori in their system. Omis and Razo both belonged to two different divisions. The division which launched Omis and nurtured Omis and keep nurturing Omis, that is different from the division which launched Razo by the time Dr. Reddy's got into divisionalization in 99 or 2000 after American Remedies merger. So Razo was launched by another team which was smaller compared to this mass team. More importantly, there was a very, very impressive, many gastroenterologists even today talk about it, is the 1997 when Dr. Reddy's conducted a huge campaign, Welcome to Omes City. Please remember, many people think that it was an event participation, but that is not the case. Another day, if time permits, we can talk a lot about this Omes City. Almost 18 months of work had happened. Campaign has happened with the theme of Welcome to Omes City among the 1,500 at that time, 1,500, 1,600 gastroenterologists. So this Welcome to Omes City or the Omes City was another major reason, okay, for the Omes to gain that type of a perception. In fact, Professor Mitra and his both sons were little critical at that point of time of these events, saying that, and we have taken those critical comments very positively, and we have corrected. And that's why in the case of Razo, okay, despite the ISGCon happening after that time, 2 times in Hyderabad, there was no Razo city. Okay, so the criticism of the conviction-based prescription writing has also enabled Dr. Reddy's. We were keen listeners through workshops from CMARC or SMSRC that has also helped me as well as my team to get into the fundamentals of brand building. So these were the differing factors. Okay, one of the important thing, and that is, it is here, okay, I want to say that the triangle of the Professor Mitra, what he has given to the industry. In marketing, more is less and less is more. The principle of a strategy means you have to sacrifice something. It is obvious to do, but you decide that you will not do it in order to achieve something big in the chosen path. Okay, so the pyramid has really helped us to look at how to look at Omes and how to launch Razo. That is what I would like to say. So Omes, by the time it was late 90s, it was getting dispersed and diluted. More customer segments were writing. And ulcer, peptic ulcer or duodenal ulcer as an indication was getting shorter and shorter, and more of a hyperacidity, heartburn, gastritis, epigastric pain. These were all the indications that were much more seen prevalent. So OMIs got diluted and it started moving there. So at the top of the pyramid, GERD. Okay, that's a much more serious issue. And that is where the slot was available, and Razo got launched there. So OMIs, by deliberate strategy, it was taken to a large multi-speciality approach, while Razo was slotted for gastroenterologists in the condition of GERD. And I think that is where competition has helped. All the rabiprazole competitors, their immediate target was to target OMIs. Imagine that if we are launching a premium car and we compare it with a very popular, okay, everyday use, very many cars like, let us say, Maruti, then your premium car will be equated with that car. Okay, so the benefits of why your car is a premium car, that may not be clearly understood by that. And I think that is where the competition role of hitting repeatedly omeprazole had actually helped Razo to find a very, very clear path of dares to be different and dares to be yours. That's the way we have taken that product. And we were very, very consistent at the top of the pyramid. Now, top of the pyramid, the patient profile as well as the customer segment is small in number, but that small number is actually more in marketing, because today Razo and Razo Group itself is close to about 350 crores for Dr. Reddy's. That is how the brand is born. So don't look for a very large market. If I have to be successful, I need to have a large customer base is not the way to look at it. The narrower you focus your efforts, resources, energy, the narrower you focus, the larger you will become. That's the clear case study both OMIs as well as Razo will demonstrate. For the benefit of gaining Razo perception in GERD, if you have to sacrifice the lighter indications, go for it, no problem. Okay, that's the point I am trying to make here. The principle of consistency is essential to turn top of the mind. Okay, so this is what I would like to say. Competition during the Razo launch was indirectly helping to narrow down Razo to GERD, because right from every company was talking about all the indications where OMIs was getting promoted. OMIs helped us in playing our messaging role in a balanced way, in the sense, like Razo cannot go and hit omeprazole because Omis was another lead brand. Our own sales team will be very critical. It will create divisional wars within the company. And that's why I told you that example. Okay, in fact, neither in Omis promotion nor in Razo promotion, the promotion idea was not on how one PPA is superior to another PPA. I have heard from very many gastroenterologists, a PPA is a PPA is a PPA. So we never went into that hair splitting of how one PPA is superior to another PPA. We talked more and more about the patient benefits. So in the case of OMIs, we always mentioned that when your patient is coming to you with the complaint of heartburn or nocturnal disturbance and all, the first best effect can be given by OMIs. Okay, and when it came to Razo, we very clearly and consistently over years, many marketers or even sometimes CEO, now I am more in an advisory role, some CEOs also ask that we have already done it. We have already promoted it. Now, we have already done it is not the way to build a brand. Whether you are continuing that practice of doing it is the most critical part. Never in prescription market we can imagine that what you do in 3 months cycle will create a tsunami type of effect. Both Omes as well as Razo today strong are very, very strong brands because of consistent work, not because of 1 or 2 cycle campaigns. That's the point I am making. So consistency in pharma marketing, what is very critical is continuity and consistency. continuity with the same set of segment of prescribers, and consistency in terms of messaging, positioning, as well as patient profile, as well as the complaints that you are going to use in the visual aid, where the prescription audit data will help. All these things, whether you are consistent. Do you know that ketorol is a religion of dentists? And even today, in its 30th or 35th year, ketorol is a prescription for a smile. Now, don't change it. If you're a brand or marketing person, there is no compulsion or urgency on us to put our stamp on that brand by changing its communication or messaging. Go with the insight of that consistency helps to build the brand. That's the point I am making here. So, very clear example of Razo in GRD, which is what DRL, Dr. Reddy's was doing versus many of the competitors who are into the game of my PPA is superior to omeprazole. Now, price versus value. We have discussed a lot even in the last 1 hour time. I very strongly believe Razo was the highest priced. In fact, Razo and GSK also launched rabiprazole with the collaboration from the Japanese company Eisai. Only these two brands were the highest priced brands. In fact, Ahmedabad-based company launched their rabiprazole at a price even lower to Omaze. Omaze, at the time of Razo launch, it was not under price control. So Omaze was priced at around 4 rupee 80 paise, if I remember right. And there was a company which is very strong company, big company. They launched rabiprazole at less than 3 rupees, less than Omaze. Even then, our sales team and marketing team didn't get bored. Don't look at competition, is what Mr. Motwani said. When it comes to your brand, what it has to do. So the pricing actually enabled us to create that strong perception of GERD with the gastroenterologist, and it helps to create a brand character. So that is why, despite 20 years passing, okay, or for Razo as well as 30 years passing for Omaze, both brands remain very, very strongly today. One of the important capability for leaders is to manage ambiguity well. Okay, so whether this price is right or not right, whether it is come under NLEM or not, whether you have to sacrifice this positioning slot in order to achieve something bigger here. This ambiguity at a leadership level, at the brand manager level, or at the marketing level is absolutely fine. But when it comes to execution, okay, the marketing team's responsibility is to never leave something ambiguous. Okay, I don't believe in when a doctor asks that to tell me whether I have to do this or that. Some companies train the people to say, doctor, you are the best judge. Now the doctor is asking for the help and you push the ball back to him saying you are the best judge. I see that it is a aha moment with the customer for me. When the doctor is asking this type of question, whether I should prescribe here or that, we should very clearly tell the patient profile. I already gave you the example. Doctor says that tell me whether DRL wants Omaze or Razo. I can write both. Our people will tell doctor, write only one brand, write only Omaze when it comes to gastritis, hyperacidity, heartburn. Please write only Omaze. Doctor, when it comes to GERD, please write only Razo. Now, this clarity was given to the people down the line up to the representative level. Means I was talking about that we have to tell the people why you are expected to do this in this way. If we give this clarity, I think execution quality will go much, much closer towards 90 to 100%. That's the point I am talking about. But I thought for a quick reading, I will give a very example from 2-3 slides from my past. I am not going to go through the slide, but to give what is the clarity that is to be given to the sales. So you can see the disease pyramid of acid disorders, and for that large mass team, where to put which SKU of Omaze, very clearly we had communicated. Okay, customer segment for that large mass-based team, very clearly we communicated where to do what. Okay, so Omaze strategy not only said who will have what responsibility, whether marketing. In fact, when a large brand is there, you will have many area manager or sales manager, somebody coming with a suggestion, you do this to the brand, you do that to the brand, receive everything with a smile. But who is responsible for what? You have to make it very clear for the mega brand management. That's the point I am saying. But more than that, okay, make people very clear. This is a slide of 2011, almost 12 years ago. But you see that for each of the subject, product positioning, line extensions positioning, communication tactics, what was the practice at that time and how we will move forward, very clearly we had communicated. More than that, the sales team shall know what we will do and what we will not do. A strategy means it is not only what we will do in a particular way, it should also tell the executing team what we will not do. If we do this successfully, I very firmly believe that alignment, convergence of sales and marketing is very, very successful, and they will give rise to much bigger brands. I am borrowing a slide from Sanjay Mitra, of which he used long ago. But brand building is a continuous process. So it is not 1 quarter or 1 year process. It has to be continuous. Like I quoted Keterol, even today it is a prescription for smile. Okay, so like that, it is a continuous process. Top brands are growth drivers for any organization. So you cannot afford to ignore that. To build successful brands, segment the market, select the target, position the brand concept, and more importantly, be very, very consistent. Just because competition is doing something, okay, and the sales will always give this feedback. He is doing this, company is doing this, and all. Receive that feedback, but you don't get influenced by what some competitor in terms of inputs or positioning doing. If you have arrived at your positioning communication based on your commercial reasons of profitability and other factors, as well as your other brands within the portfolio, be consistent with what is your positioning. That's the point. Consistency is not 1 quarter or 3 quarters. Consistency means consistent for 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years. That's what is going to help a brand grow into a much, much bigger mega brand. Strong brand must reflect physical fitness in terms of number of prescriptions generated, perceptual strength. Chinmay, no, I think Chinmay showed that slide of augmentin where it is perceived. I am eager to hear to Vasan, who is my classmate. So where it has to be prescribed, perceptual strength, both results in a strong brand character. And many a times, price can actually help to strengthen that perceptual strength. This is the conclusion I would like to give, and I'll be glad to get any question on this discussion I have had.
Thank you, Sankar sir. And the last slide, please elaborate. Why did you show someone here doing?
Thanks. It is no. I always feel no sales and marketing. I have visualized here, and river rafting is one activity where you cannot afford to even sleep for a second, and there has to be a continuous communication. So, sales and marketing, in my opinion, there has to be a constant communication, and today's tools are enabling it much better. When I was a brand manager, I had to create a circular. If I have to reach out to a representative, it has to be at a prefixed time to go to the STD booth and calling and all those things. Whereas today, WhatsApp, so many tools are available. Today, the position is much, much better. So why not we have constant communication like it happens in a river rafting? Okay, a team of people, they constantly, and the fun is that in the constant communication, how you reach your desired goal, like the way it happens in river rafting. It's a team effort, and what requires is that frequent exchange of that entire team behind the brand, sales, marketing, and supply chain. All those teams also put together. We should work together as a team. That's why I have used that visual.
Thank you, Sankar sir. And very aptly put what this image says, coordination and acting as a team. So there are comments and questions also, but let me compliment you. When I heard that when you were there in starting in Dr. Reddy's, and the doctors list were lying in salespeople pockets, not even
Yeah.
at the headquarters having any sort of process or flow charts around it. So I must say that when we perceive that today's market is difficult, the competition is difficult, what you did at that time was also difficult. And how processes have evolved, brands have been built, it's just a consistent and persistent clarity of thought. These things have to be there, otherwise it's not a very big task. Means it's not impossible to create a brand. When I think today that getting those lists from the pockets of those salespeople was the impossible task, if it was
Yeah,
happening
it used to be. So that's where I am saying that very easily I have heard, sir, those things are possible at that time,
that
not
time.
anymore. But today, artificial intelligence, the theme of this physical event that Pharma State Academy is going to have, I think it is going to be a wonderful tool. Now, artificial intelligence will not displace the brand manager or a sales professional's role. It is going to be a very, very important tool. So, how we use that tool for improving our productivity is the point I am making. Okay, so don't look at what was possible in the past. Today, it is not possible. Look at what is possible today, how to identify a scope. In 97, we might have identified a scope of ISG Con in happening in Hyderabad. Okay, today that is not available, but today something else is available. Let us look at what is available.
Yes, and let us not delve into what was happening at that time. Things were tough that time also. Things are tough today also. And to reverse the statement, things were easy that time also. Things were easy today also. So let me get to one or two questions that I will quickly ask you, sir. There are questions coming. Your presentation is excellent, Sankar sir. And we reiterate that because we have hosted you multiple times and we have seen the way you have motivated everyone in the session. But the question is, when we say RASO for GERD, it may also depend upon how the competitors promoting their rabiprazole. It may also influence the doctor's perception of rabiprazole. Please address this issue for our benefit with your experience and wisdom.
Okay. So the first point is RASO in GERD. I will once again talk about consistency. So around us, 10 different players will be doing 10 different things. Okay, if we have arrived at the top of the pyramid is the GERD indication and top of the pyramid is gastroenterologist. Now, why should I get worried about one Rabbi Mac or Rabbi Cool going to the consultant physician, going to orthopedician for co-prescription or going for a gastritis condition? I can look what they are doing, but what has come out of a thorough market research insight, I will stick to it, and not only sticking to it, but stay with it for years to come. So this GERD was when very many people were doing very many things. What was heard? See, ultimately, doctor has only 2 minutes or 3 minutes to the representative. So what is repeated again and again will only stick to the mind, and it is one of our childhood lesson. Okay, 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6. That was repeated by us very many times, and that is why even today we could remember max fundamentals. But if you keep changing like a cinema screen every Friday, something keeps changing and other things, so many reps come and so many people talk different things. That inconsistency, the poor prescriber cannot remember and recall. What is repeated will be remembered and recalled. It will reflect in the pen. That's the point I am making.
Okay. So, and what statement is repeated, that also matters a lot. That statement requires a lot of research. What is going to be repeated in front of doctors and time and again persistently. Thank you, sir. Okay, Reena is asking about Teddy Bar. What was the marketing strategy? Would you like to share something, some insight from that?
Oh, in the case of Teddy Bear, it is very interesting. It is very difficult in this short time to talk about it. But what Curatio had done is at a time when a holistic approach to manage the treatment of atopic dermatitis issue was not no promoted by the industry. I think Curatio first took that initiative of talking about bathing as one of an important instrument to improve the quality of life of a child suffering atopic dermatitis. Not only with the dermatologists, but Curatio also ensured that the dermatologists talk about that to the pediatricians, who are the first people to see skin rashes. So if there is a skin rash, whether it is allergic rash or it is a allergic atopic dermatitis rash, how to identify that and how to treat that child as well as the mother. Mother is an important component. So this part, I think Curatio had done a wonderful job. And it is not at all surprising that Teddy Bar is more than 100 crore brand today. And Torrent is doing very well in that brand.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Ms. Deepal. So I'll take her permission for 5 to 6 minutes. Deepal, there are a lot of questions. I'd like to ask 2, 3 more questions. And with your permission, can I go ahead?
Sure. Please do. It will be a pleasure for us also to learn and from sir.
Thank you, Deepal. So Sankar sir, next question is on pricing. Sir, on your point, pricing can be a great tool to strengthen brand character. Could you talk more about how pricing strategy, high versus mid versus low, changes the perception of brand for prescribers and patients?
Okay. So the first point is 99% of the doctors won't know your exact price. They don't have time for knowing your exact price. Price is more an issue at the mind of the sales team. So if we build that conviction, then price is not at all an issue. This is the large fundamental. And behind pricing, there is also the businesses, commercial, health financials also work. So how much you allocate for marketing, how much is the field salary, what is the time allocated for field, all those things get into the pricing. Usually from cost price, pricing of 5x, 4.5x to 5x or 7x or x is that cost price is the right way to do it. But if you have a equity with your chosen customer segment, I believe that it is something, a reward which a marketing team can have, okay, because they have worked to create that perception. So some premium can be kept. Don't get too much worried whether the doctor will say that it is high priced. Doctor saying it is a high price is just a saying, not meaning. Saying is different from meaning. If you are consistent with don't be defensive about pricing. Now, it is your price. See, you are meeting your friend, school time friend, after 10 years in a cinema theater. The first conversation will be, oh, you have come to the movie. Okay, in a cinema theater, what else you will come for? You will not come there to buy for vegetables. So don't take this as a offensive objection. Okay, smile at it and communicate your patient profile and how your brand resolves that consistently over a period of time. This pricing issue will disappear. And if it is a new product and it is going to be positioned much better than some of the existing product, logically, my belief system says that keep the price at a higher level so that there is a curiosity in the customer's mind to know what is so special in this to keep a high price. Okay, so you handle that part very efficiently, and that's my view on pricing.
Okay. So yes, it's a strategy used effectively. It will lead to larger sales. So next question from Mr. Amit. Big brands normally happen to be the brand for a brand manager, VP, sales head, and also the company boss. They keep influencing their thoughts and ideas for managing the big brand. How do you manage this, as it always tries to distract the brand plan, forget the consistency? Your say on this.
Yeah, be prepared. It's a very good question. I have also faced. If I am a vice president, I was a vice president in Dr. Reddy's. Okay, some of the slides which I showed, okay, was made in 2011. Be prepared. Tell the top management what is your plan very clearly. And if your insight and data has made you strong on certain principles that you want to drive home, okay, receive this feedback, what your MD is saying or others are saying. Okay, others are saying is not that tomorrow you have to do it. give a proper data-based response to them. Okay, if you are very strong in your data preparation, you are convinced about it, and your company understands, they have kept you in that role for you to reflect what is the right thing to do. So receive the opinion, but still you stay strong in what you have to do and say. So comfortably handle it. I have seen this situation even for me, and it was not difficult for me. It is all dependent on your preparation. Even in my recent experience, one of the PE investor will keep pushing me to say, take Teddy Bear OTC. Okay, now the acquired company which acquired may take it. But I used to say that even today, out of 100 pediatricians, only 15 pediatricians are prescribing. I have a hell of a lot of job to do with the remaining 85 doctors. Now that gives them the perspective of why I am sticking to what I am doing. I am giving just one example. I used to go even to another extent. If I have to give, some people will come and say that give multiple flavors of teddy bar. Okay, I will tell them very clearly that mother is not buying lemon flavor, strawberry flavor. She is seeking a solution for the atopic dermatitis of the child. The moment I increase that option, okay, my sale only of the each SKU will go down. I may sell more, but it is not going to increase dramatically. Okay, so two flavors doesn't mean double the sales. It doesn't happen in that way. So one customer will buy one set of product, another set of. Let me first work on why they have to buy my brand rather than looking at increasing the flavors. Like this, I used to have a lot of data-based explanations to the top management, to the board, which ultimately I stood by what I have to do. That's the point I'm making. You be prepared for that is the answer.
Perfect, perfect. And sometimes having flavors, psychologically disturbs us. ये flavor अच्छा है, ये काम नहीं कर रहा है. This one is working, so let's take this flavor. So I don't know, Sankar sir, but that's the thing. And very wonderfully put. If your conviction is there, why you are doing it, you will be able to, put the right points in front of your manager or the brand owners. Thank you. I'll take just one more question. This is a competition question. How are lower priced new entrant brands by many companies in branded generic space being built today, like Mankind today? Okay, so there's generic versus branded thing debate here.
No, please come again. I didn't get the total.
Question is, how are lower priced new entrant brands like Mankind in branded generic space being built today like Mankind today?
Yeah, so first thing is mankind of today. This is my opinion. Okay, so mankind of today is not mankind of what it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So mankind, I think, identified, and never you will hear mankind launching totally new molecule. They will take an existing successful brand, let us say amoxiclav or amlodipine. They will take an existing successful brand and they leveraged their core capability and core competency on taking that product to the tier 3, tier 4 markets within the country. I think that is the mantra. So it is, and they have at that time, okay, so not today, at that time, they have certainly looked at keeping the price low. Whereas today, mankind price, in my opinion, is competitive and it is not a low price. So at that time, when they have taken the product to the interior market, which is their core competency, they have leveraged lower price. That's the way I will reflect.
Thank you, Sankar sir. Thank you for answering these questions also. There are a few questions which are coming on brand building using AI tools. So that I'll answer those as we are joining on 20th in Mumbai. So please join us there. There will be a very detailed discussion on brand building using AI and challenges and all. Sankar sir, thank you so much for joining us today and leading us. Thank you, Sankar sir. So you have one more reason to join us every day at 8:30 p.m. this week. Sankar Das sir will be there to guide you, answer your questions, even if they are very difficult to ask. Ask them, because this is where you will get a free opportunity to learn from veterans, and their mindset, their experience will help us, go through our journey. So Sankar sir, thank you so much for presenting today on the gastro and PPI brands, those emerged top, those which emerged top in our survey. And we look forward to hosting you again and meeting you also on 20th, but I don't think that is possible. But still, please be there with us in the virtual mood. Thank you, sir.